This week, the Sun, ruler of our self-expression, and Mercury, ruler of the mental realm, come together in Virgo. All of this, an empowered moment and more in my new intuitive energy forecast for the week of Monday, September 8th through Sunday, September 14th, 2025. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger, here to do your weekly intuitive energy forecast. For this week, we're going to be using the Animal Wise Tarot by Ted Andrews, and this is going to be the main message for everyone. Your special message card this week, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Earth Magic Oracle cards by Stephen Farmer. So before we get into the astrology of the week or even looking at your stones of choice, let's go ahead, close our eyes, and do an empowered moment. So as we take a deep breath and settle in to where we're sitting or reclining or lying down, making sure your eyes are closed and if possible, your feet are flat on the floor or the ground. And take a couple of deep breaths, focusing on your breath as you breathe in and exhale out. Again, breathing in and exhaling out. Taking a moment to visualize golden white light all around you. The golden white light of unconditional love and guidance, protection and healing. And as you see or sense, feel, or know that that golden white light is around you, take in a third deep breath and breathe it into every cell of your body, imagining that you're breathing in that golden white light. As you exhale, you're letting go of all that your body, mind, and soul no longer needs. And we're coming off of a very powerful week. A week that had many astrological and energetic happenings. We just had a full moon lunar eclipse, bringing in and heralding in endings and completions over the next few weeks. And Uranus, the Great Awakener, planet of change and liberation, turning to retrograde motion. Now it's time to breathe. This week, we can take a breath and exhale, focusing on the energies of trust and faith, surrender to the unfolding of energies and divine timing. What do you need to release and let go of? Is it a situation, a circumstance, a mindset, a perspective, a belief system? Whatever it is, take a moment and focus on what you need to let go and release in order to realign with your highest truth, your authentic self. Focus on the energy of surrender, where you just let go and allow the unfolding to occur, allow the aligning and healing to take place. And focus on faith and trust that everything is going to divine plan for your highest and best interest. And with that in mind, take one last deep, healing, cleansing, and balancing breath. As you exhale, and in your own time, you can open your eyes and return to this time and place and space. And now let's get ready to look at our stones of choice. These are special intention pendants. You can find these and a lot more on my website under ColleenLemma.com. And they're all aura quartz. I just felt like I wanted to pull out these aura quartz pendants. And the first one here is the purple aura quartz. Isn't that a beautiful deep dark purple? So this is wrapped in silver wire. It's Reiki charged with the vibration of Master number 33, number of Christ consciousness and Master Teacher energies. The qualities of the planet Uranus for the connection to the God mind and other dimensions of time and space are infused into this one. The qualities of the sign of Aquarius for the ability to vocally transmit higher information and knowledge. The activation and balancing of the crown chakra to open up to claircognizance and channeling abilities. The energies of Archangel Raziel for alchemy and magic, and Archangel Metatron to connect to one's own Akashic records. And then pendant number 2, this one is Apple Aura Quartz. Beautiful, vibrant green. Apple Aura Quartz wrapped in silver wire and Reiki charged with the vibration of the number 9, number of unconditional love, compassion, and forgiveness. The qualities of the sign of Pisces for connection to the universe and past lives. The energies of the South Node and the North Node of the astrological chart to assist with severing the ties to the past and opening new doors to the future, especially in regards to relationship matters. The activation and balancing of the heart chakra for healing the emotional body and opening up to unconditional love. This one has the energies of Archangel Raphael to heal old pain, traumas, and or soulmate relationships. And then the last pendant of choice here, this one is called Angel Aura. This is a beautiful kind of milky white color. So the Angel Aura Quartz, it's Reiki charged with the energy of Master number 11 and Master number 33 for channeling higher knowledge and wisdom, remembering past lives, and gaining insight into one's spiritual mission in this lifetime. The activation of the crown chakra for awakening one's psychic abilities and the heart chakra for magnified healing abilities. The energy of Aquarius to provide a connection to the stars, opening communications between the earth plane and the star people and other spiritual guides. The energy of Neptune to raise one's vibration, making connection with higher spiritual planes easier, and the energetic connection to all of the archangels and the entire angelic realm. So again, your pendants of choice are the purple aura quartz, the apple aura quartz, or the angel aura quartz. Okay, so as far as astrology, there's not a whole lot going on this week. Of course, the moon is always moving through each sign of the zodiac every 2.5 days or so, but I usually don't talk about that. I talk about that when I do my daily Facebook and Instagram posts. So if you're not following me on Facebook or Instagram, it's either Colleen Lemma or Colleen Lemma Sacred Soul Empowerment, or just Sacred Soul Empowerment. So anyway, for this week's astrology, we're going to start with Friday the 12th. That's the first time this week that we've got something with other planets going on. And on Friday the 12th of September, now remember, this is the week after. It's the second week of the month, right? In the first week, we had Saturn retrograding back into Pisces. We had Uranus, the Great Awakener, turning to retrograde motion at 1 degree Gemini. We had the next day after that a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. So we had a tremendous week last week. So it's okay that this is a little lighter. On Friday the 12th this week, we have the sun in Virgo. in a sextile to Jupiter in Cancer, and Mercury in Virgo, sextile to Jupiter in Cancer. So the sun rules our conscious mind, our ego, our vitality, our life force. It rules our creative self-expression out there in the world. And again, it's in Virgo. And Virgo is, the sign of the zodiac that uses discrimination and discernment, pays attention to the details. It's analytical, it's logical. It likes to pay attention to how can we come up with solutions that will help us to move forward. It's very practical and grounded. And let's talk about Mercury for a minute. So Mercury rules the mental realm, thoughts and ideas, perceptions and perspectives, and all forms of communication, as well as information and messages. And Mercury is also in Virgo. So again, this practical, logical, analytical type of approach. They are both in a sextile, which is a positive aspect of opportunity, to Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion and blessings and opportunities. It also rules abundance and prosperity, and it does rule our higher spiritual perspectives and our belief systems. And Jupiter happens to be in Cancer right now. It spends a year in each sign of the zodiac, and it's not even halfway through going through the sign of Cancer. But Jupiter in Cancer is going to expand everything that deals with Cancer energies. Empathy, emotions, sensitivities, nurturing, mothering, counseling, home, family, children, living situation. So Jupiter is just expanding all of that. Now, with the Sun and Mercury in Virgo in this positive sextile to Jupiter, there's opportunities there to really fine-tune, through paying attention to the details, what it is that we wish to expand into, let's say. Because Jupiter can expand our emotions and our feelings in a not so good way. If we get overly sensitive, overly empathic, overly emotional, Jupiter will just expand that. But here's the opportunity to kind of ground it a little bit with the Sun and Mercury and Virgo, to bring it back down to earth, to be a little bit more practical about it, to analyze what are these emotions that I'm feeling? What are they connected to? What does it have to do with? And this is also about coming up with solutions on how we want to move forward. What do we really want to expand into? We want to expand into the highest aspects of Jupiter in Cancer, which is, again, this loving, nurturing, caring, caretaking, counseling, listening, kind of energy. It's sort of like the great mother energy, Cancer. And so let's expand into that divine, feminine, great mother energy. But let's do it in a very practical, grounded sort of way. We're using, again, our powers of discernment and discrimination with the Sun and Mercury and Virgo. We're coming up with a list of to-dos. What are the next steps on the path? What do I need to do for today to get something accomplished? And also using that discernment and discrimination with your own emotions, your own emotional body, your own emotional nature, your own emotional healing. So there's lots of opportunities if we look for them and pay attention to them. Also, they're saying coming up with the solutions on how to move forward, right? Because Virgo is very solution-oriented. And then the next day on Saturday the 13th is when the Sun and Mercury actually come together to form a conjunction in Virgo. So they were very close to that on Friday as they both connected to Jupiter one by one, but now they're coming together. So the Sun is highlighting with its rays of light the focus and the details and the analysis and the solutions, the discrimination, the discernment of Mercury, ruler of the mental realm. So it's a great time for communication, speaking, teaching, writing, especially of a practical, solution-oriented nature. It's a great time to, again, make those lists. They could make a mental list in your head, but even better, write it down on paper. What do I need to do today? What do I need to do this week? What do I need to do this month? What do I need to do for the rest of the year? What are the steps that I need to take? It can be just practical regarding the work you're doing, the service you're giving, money, finances, home, family. It can be much more spiritual. Like, what are the next steps I have to take for my own evolution and growth? How can I expand my spiritual service to others or to my community or to the world? So, either way, we've got kind of this organization, which is a great keyword for Virgo, this organization of these to-dos on our list. All right, so that's all that's happening astrologically. Let's go ahead and take a look at the messages from our angels and guides from the Animal Wise Tarot. So the first card, this is the Seven of Four-Leggeds, Seven of Earth, Seven of Pentacles in the traditional tarot. And in the Animal Wise Tarot, it is the rabbit, and it says proper use of cycles and rhythms, okay? So this makes sense to me because the proper use of cycles and rhythms we just came off of, especially that full moon lunar eclipse, not to mention Uranus shifting its direction to retrograde motion. That's a cycle, especially the eclipse, right? The full moon lunar eclipse, releasing, letting go, healing, purging. It's just about what do we no longer wish to carry? What karmic lessons, karmic patterns are we ready to let go of? So this is the proper use of this rhythm, of this cycle. It's a time of releasing. It's a time of healing. It's a time of surrendering. It's a time of having trust and faith. The number 7 in numerology is about trust and faith. Now, the 7 of Pentacles in the traditional tarot usually in some way, shape, or form will show some sort of seeds that are planted. And there's usually a human, a man, a woman that is watching those seeds grow, kind of a little bit with impatience, like wanting those seeds to grow faster. But the seeds still need sunshine and watering and love and nurturing in order to grow. And this is, of course, metaphoric for the seeds that we are planting for our future of what we want to grow and expand into, and as far as the next steps on our personal path. But we have to have a little bit of patience here. The number 7 says it's going to take a little time. It's not quite ready to fully sprout above the earth yet. So have that patience and look at it from a deeper perspective, a higher spiritual perspective. What do I have to learn yet? Or maybe this is a time of rest and recalibration, and I have to surrender and have faith in that. Now, the rabbit, usually the rabbit is a quick moving, hopping forward kind of symbol. But this image on this particular card shows the rabbit kind of standing still. You know how the rabbit, like if you walk past a rabbit, it kind of freezes for a minute, right? It's like, nope, you can't see me, I'm not moving. So it's kind of like this non-movement, it's like this freezing moment in time where we're just kind of standing still. It almost reminds me of the Hanged Man. Let's surrender and just kind of hang out for a while. We can't really move. All we can do is look at things from this upside down perspective because the Hanged Man is hanging upside down. So let's just stop for a moment. Let's just be in the moment. Let's not try to rush our movement forward or rush those seeds to grow because they still need a little time to germinate, right? So use this cycle wisely. Use it in that way, right? Use it in a form of healing or trying to understanding more, or maybe doing more research or taking care of different types of objectives, things like that before we're able to move forward in a particular area of our life. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next card. The next card is the Three of Ancients. This is like the Three of Fire or the Three of Wands in the traditional tarot. This is the salamander, and it says unique inspiration and assistance. And when I look at that phrase at the bottom, I immediately think of Uranus, the Great Awakener, turning to retrograde motion this past Friday. And Uranus can be about the higher God mind and revelations and insights just kind of coming through the crown chakra out of the blue, unexpectedly, surprisingly. So this to me is about that unique assistance, unique inspiration, downloads, revelations again, aha moments, and unique assistance from the higher realms, the angelic realms here. Now, the Three of Fire in the traditional tarot, this is about expanding into the vision of the big picture, right? The number 3 in numerology is about expansion. It's about imagination. It's about creative self-expression. So we're creating the vision in our minds through our imagination first of where we want to go next. But it's not quite yet time to manifest, right? In fact, fire, the realm of fire, is more intuitive and inspirational and, again, creative, rather than grounding something into form. So we're not quite to that point yet. But we're expanding. We're expanding the vision. We're expanding our imagination. We're letting the colorful details kind of come into play. The salamander, well, just like it says the 3 of ancients, it's an ancient being. So it reminds me of expanding into ancient wisdom and knowledge as well. Because the other thing the number 3 is about is thoughts, words, ideas, information, messages, belief systems, perceptions, and perspectives. So expand into the ancient wisdom and knowledge of the ancestors, whether they be your biological ancestors or spiritual ancestors, because again, through expanding into that ancient wisdom, you'll be provided with some sort of unique perspective or unique information, inspiration on some level, some sort of download insight that kind of comes in. All right, let's look at the last card for the week. And the last card is the Ace of Winged Ones. This is like the Ace of Air, the Ace of Swords. The aces are always about new beginnings. The Suit of Swords is the suit of the mental realm. So it's a new beginning of thought, a new beginning of an idea, a new beginning with a new perception or perspective. And maybe, again, initiating, which is another ace kind of keyword, initiating new communications with people. And you got the woodpecker here. The woodpecker, knock, 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 right? Knocks on the tree. So whenever I take a walk out in nature and I hear knock, 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 I'm like, oh, it's the woodpecker. So there's a knocking of an opportunity. I got to pay attention to the knock, the spiritual knock, which is an opportunity from the universe, from spirit, of a new idea or a new collaboration to connect through communication with someone, or maybe this new kind of aspect of writing or thinking that kind of comes into play. At the bottom it says unique new rhythms of success. So interesting, our first card talked about proper use of cycles and rhythms. This card, the Ace of Winged Ones, says unique new rhythms of success. So by following and going with the flow of the divine plan of the universe unfolding and the divine timing that it wishes to take, especially since we're in that waning moon cycle of the full moon lunar eclipse, where we just have to surrender and let go, allow and have faith, this is eventually going to lead us to something new, a new way of thinking, perceiving, believing, and experiencing. Starts on a mental body level though. So listen for the spiritual knock, pay attention to the synchronicities that might come in through maybe something you read or something you overhear through communication, and let it kind of initiate this new cycle of success for you. All right, so it was a positive reading for sure. But let's take a look at what your message is from your angels and guides according to your pendant of choice. So let me give this a little shuffle and tune in for a minute. So the first pendant of choice was the purple aura quartz. All right, so purple aura quartz people, special message for the week for purple aura quartz. This one's calling my attention right here. And it says stone people with vigilance. So stone is more solid, more material. It's more of a manifestation than some of the other energies we have going on this week and through most of the card messages that we had this week. But if we have vigilance, right, to have kind of this persistence and patience and determination and this vigilance to move towards the next step, to be grounded, to be in the present moment, right? So the Virgo energy was highlighted this week with the Sun and Mercury in Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign. Although out of all the earth signs, Virgo is the only mutable earth sign. We've got Taurus, which is fixed, which is more stubborn. We got Capricorn, which is earth, which is cardinal, so more initiating. But Virgo, being the third of the earth signs and being mutable, is more changeable. So even though it's grounded and practical, pragmatic, it's also changeable and kind of going with the flow as much as it possibly can. So I feel like here we've got the clouds in the sky, right? Usually the clouds are moving, we're watching them kind of go on by and float on by. So there's movement here, but yet we're dealing with this very material, grounded, focused earth energy, the stone people. So let's pretend you were a stone for a minute, one of these stone cliffs or one of these stone people. You're fixed in the earth. You're like being still in the moment, right? It's like that stillness that I talked about with the rabbit. It's like, let's take a moment of kind of stillness here. And in that stillness, though, as a stone person, you might be looking up at the sky and seeing the clouds traveling on by. You can see the messages in the clouds, the images of the clouds. You can use your imagination to see different guidance in the sky. So there's still this movement, even though we're kind of right now being in a still fixed place. And we're going to continue with vigilance on our path, but using the cycles of the time, and when the timing is going to be right to be still versus when to try to move and take an action. So this is the message that I'm getting for those that chose the purple aura quartz. Let's put this back in the deck in case somebody else gets it. The second stone of choice was the apple aura quartz. Special message for the week for the apple aura quartz people, and this one's calling my attention here. This one is the wind. So we've got activation with the wind. And the wind, if it were a tarot kind of element, would be the suit of swords. The suit of swords is air, wind. This is the wind, and it says activation. So think about your breath. Your breath is an activation point. So what you speak is an activation, right? This is kind of like coming from the throat chakra, but it's coming out the mouth, right? When you speak a word, when you speak an intention out loud, you're setting some sort of breath, movement of breath, wind into motion here to call it in, to activate it. Now, this could be also, I'm getting like visualizing again with the Three of Wands, right? That imagination and visualization of what it is you want to create, but it starts in the mind here. So let's create it in the mind. And once we do that, and once we have that vision solidly in place in our mind, take a deep breath and blow it out to the universe. Blow out the intention, the vision, the imagined image into the wind. Be the wind, right? So if you stood out on a breezy day, I love taking a walk on a breezy day. There's something about the breeze. I think the air signs of Gemini, Libra, which I'm a Libra, and Aquarius, I think especially relate to the wind because they are the air signs. And so when it's a breezy day, we can especially can tune in and hear the whispers of the wind, the messages on the wind, the guidance from the wind element that kind of come into play. So let the wind be an activation for you. What direction do you need to go? Listening to the rustle of the leaves of the trees when the wind, the breeze kind of comes in. Is it speaking to you? What's the message? And so all of these different things with the wind element, whether you're creating the wind element with your voice, your speaking, your breath, which is part of the breathing and meditation, right, is creating kind of an activation for us. Or whether we're going outside on a breezy, beautiful, fall afternoon day. We're not quite to fall yet, technically. But when we get out there, there's messages coming to us on the breeze, in the air, if we just tune in, close our eyes, tune in, and listen for them. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the message for the last people. This is the Angel Aura Quartz people. So, special message for the week for Angel Aura Quartz people. Angel Aura Quartz people. This one's calling my attention here. Ooh, you guys, tsunami, wake-up call. So this, I feel like, is definitely related to the full moon lunar eclipse that we had this past Saturday, Sunday, on the 6th and 7th. Well, actually, it was on the 7th, right? So it was Sunday the 7th. I'm thinking of Uranus was Friday, Saturday, depending on what part of the world you're in. But the full moon lunar eclipse was definitely Sunday, September 7th. So just prior to this week's information, this is about a tsunami, about a wake-up call. We've got the ocean current rising into this tsunami wave. Water is our emotions, our emotional body, our feelings, our intuitive abilities, psychic abilities, healing abilities, empathic abilities. We do have the moon there in the background. So another indication this is probably a result of the full moon lunar eclipse. So those of you that chose the Angel Aura Quartz, you're in for this again, this wake-up call, this aha moment. A big healing wave is going to wash over you. A big activation on an emotional body level. A big purge, a big clearing, right? A tsunami being the water is going to cleanse and purify and purge whatever is going on the feeling level. Old situations and circumstances where there was maybe some traumatic emotions from this or other lifetimes, relationship difficulties where where emotions are running high. So here again, we have an aha moment, a revelation about something as a wake-up call, and or an emotional clearing and healing that's taking place here. So call in Luna, call in the moon's energy for heightened perspective or heightened intuition and psychic wisdom and knowledge in order to understand what the wave of emotional energy is all about for you. Okay. It brings up the shadow side a little bit, right? Because this is a shadowed kind of card. It's like it's the dark of the night with the full moon, and it's kind of a shadowy sort of image here. So our shadow side of fears or anxieties or doubts or frustrations or maybe even anger is maybe kind of rising to the surface. But realize that when challenging emotions rise to the surface, it's because they need to be recognized and understood so they can be let go and healed, right? And I feel like for some of you, this might come up through the physical body as well as the emotional body. They're even saying mental body too. But don't be surprised if there's physical things in the body that are happening as a result of emotional waves that are kind of coming up to be released and let go. All right. Of course, if you do have physical things going on, I am not a doctor, so go if you feel guided to your doctor to find out what's going on. All right, so that is the message for this week, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I send you all lots of love and light. Thank you for your support, your love, your messages and comments on the YouTube videos. And I will see you again next week. Namaste, everyone.